Cool. Let's just make sure that the audio is working. And we'll go from there. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Primary microphone is going to be hello, hello, hello. Osmo Pocket, done. Hello. Can everyone hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Alright, so that's that one. Hello. Properties. Nice. Alright guys, so today what we're going to be looking at is the new data tables feature in n8n. So let's just go see, and I'll be watching a few things to see what happens.
Alright, you're building n8n workflows and constantly
Just make sure that everyone can hear.
and setting up an entirely different database feels like overkill, right? I think we've all been there. You're busy with the workflow, everything is working fine, until you realize you need to store data between executions. Maybe it's tracking records that haven't been processed, or maybe you want to store reusable prompts. Or maybe you just want some handy lookup table. Or let's say you've got a workflow that gets triggered every time you receive an email. You then extract lead information from that email, and you then need to store that data somewhere. So what do most of us do? We end up creating a separate database, or maybe something in Airtable. And then we go through the hassle of integrating that database. Then actually includes a built-in solution called data table, internal databases, and complex integrations. So in this tutorial, you'll learn everything there is to know about data tables. I'll show you how to create them, how to interact.
Just make sure that we can do this side by side. So I'll have that there. And we'll also have the data table over here. So let's make sure I'm logged in. So we're going to do a side-by-side stream just to make sure that we follow along as we learn, and we can explain what we're doing. So I'll call this workflow data tables, and let's see where we go from here.
Act with them in your workflows, and a few very fun real-world examples. Enough talk, let's jump into this. If you are using the hosted version of n8n, then you should have access to data tables already. If you're using the free community version, then all you have to do is update to the latest version. At the time of recording, I'm on version 1.114.4, and I'll show you how to update your n8n instance later on in this video. First, let's create a new workflow. Then let's call this one order processing. Alright, so for the trigger, let's add the on-form submission trigger. Then let's give this a name like order form, and then under form elements, let's add our first field, which is the customer name. Then let's add another field. Let's call this one email, and for the type, let's select email, and for the placeholder, then let's add another field. Then let's say item. For the element type, let's say drop down, and we'll give a few options like margarita, pizza, Regina, and maybe something like a meat lover's pizza. Cool, so we'll make this a required field. Let's add one more item. Let's call this quantity. Let's change this to a number. Alright, so when we execute the step, we can go ahead and enter all of these details. So I'll say Leon at test.com. Then let's select the item, and let's set the...
So what we're going to have is an order form. Order your food, Italian restaurant. Order your food. Let's add a few things, so customer name. And then we're going to add an email, make that required for us. So we'll add an email. And I can't remember if they have an email field. Yes, they do. Make that item, we'll make that a drop down. Cool, so we'll call it margarita pizza. And let's go pepperoni, and we'll add my favorite, which is Hawaiian. And does anyone know what a Hawaiian pizza is? It's my favorite, if I can spell it. Hawaiian. Cool. And then we'll do the quantity. Quantity. Hey guys, how you doing? So we'll get rid of that from the quantity. We'll add a new field option and we'll call it. So we'll add a new form element and we'll call it quantity. And we will go number. Cool. Bum, 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 bum. Cool. Let's have a look at that. Oops. So that looks about right. Let's continue with
the quantity to 2 pizzas. Let's send this. And now we can see all the information extracted from that form. And now what we need to do is actually persist this data somewhere. So it's at this point where people actually give up. They don't know which node to choose. They have no idea how to connect to a database. So it can feel very overwhelming. Luckily, n8n's got us covered. Let's go back to our dashboard. Let's go to data tables and let's create a new table. First, let's give our table a name like pizza orders. Let's create this, and now we can open this table, and now we're in the data tables builder. By default, we get 3 columns out of the box, a unique ID for each record, and both a created and updated timestamp. We can add our own columns by clicking on this Add Column button, and now we can enter the name of this column. I'll call this one customer, but if I add space, it's going to tell me this is an invalid name. So a proper convention is to simply use an uppercase letter to indicate the new word. So let's call this customer name. Then under types, we can select between string, number, boolean, and date time. Let's leave this on string and add this column. And look at that, we can now see our column. Let's add a few more. So we've got our email, which is of type string. Let's add another column. Let's call this one item, which is of type string. And finally, I'm just going to click on add column. And let's call this one quantity. And this is of type number. Let's add this column. And that should be it. We now have our customer name, their email address, the item, as well as the quantity as a number. We can also add or remove records from this view as well. So we can click on add row. And now for the customer name, we can say John. For the email, we can enter something like john@test.com, etc. Now, of course, I don't want to manually add the records using this. I want my workflow to automatically take the contents from the form and add it to this table. We can also remove records by selecting the specific record and then clicking on delete. Right, now that we have our table, let's have a look at using it in our workflow. So let's go back to our workflow. I'm just going to execute this form again so we can get some data into this workflow. Cool. I'm actually just going to pin this data so that we can reuse this data going forward. And then let's add another node. And this time, let's search for data table. Now we can see all the available actions. We can delete rows, get rows. We can check if a row exists. If a row does not exist, we can insert rows. And of course, update rows. Let's select insert rows. From the list of tables, let's select pizza orders. And we'll select map each column manually. Then for the customer name, let's grab the customer name field from the form. Let's do the same thing for the email, the same thing for the item, and the same thing for the quantity. Right. Now, watch what happens when we execute this workflow. Let's open our table. We can now see that result. So this is a very simple use case where we could share that form with our clients. And once they've populated the form, we will see those records in this table. And of course, after we've processed this order, all we have to do is grab this record and delete it. Alternatively, you could also add another column containing the order status. That way, you can actually create a filter and only filter on orders that haven't been processed. Let's also have a look at setting up global values. Now, typically, this is what you could use variables for, but this is not available on the community version of n8n. So what we could do is simply create a new table. So let's create a data table. And what I want to do is store a list of system prompts that I can reuse in my agents. So I'll call this table prompts. Let's click on create. Then let's add a column and let's call this one name. And the type will be string. So let's click on add column. Then let's add another column. This time I'll call it prompt, which is also of type string. Now I'm going to add a few records manually. So this one I'll actually call assistant. And now for the prompt, I'll just enter something like, you are a friendly AI assistant called John. Of course, this prompt can be as complex as you want it to be. So I added 2 more for a pirate, and the
What's up,
prompt that
guys?
will only generate emojis. Now, of course, this can actually be really useful if you have a lot of complex prompts that you want to store somewhere and reuse across all of
Hey,
your
Joey.
workflows. Either way, let's open up a new workflow. I'll just call the workflow agent.
Can you hear me
Then
on
for the
TikTok
first
alright?
step, let's add our on-chat message trigger. And usually you would add your AI
Check what it looks
agent
like
at this
on my
point.
phone. Hey,
Let's
guys.
also add our chat model. So I'll just use chat OpenAI. And for the model, let's just go with GPT-5 Mini. All right, so I'm not going to focus too much on the agent itself, but what we want to do is add a system message. And of course, this is where you would enter the system prompt for your agent. But what if you wanted this prompt to be reusable in other
guys.
workflows? Well, that is where you would take that
Hey,
prompt,
thanks for the follow,
create a
Eco.
record in your data table, and
Appreciate
then
it, man.
reuse the value from the data table itself. So how does that work? Well, let's go back to the canvas. And before we call the agent, let's add another node and let's search for data table.
Make sure that it's live, so TikTok. How do I see if it's live? Hey, Suzette. Oops. How do I share that link? So let's just make sure we can hear it. Hey guys, what's happening? Cool, looks like it's working. Let's see what happens.
Let's grab get row, and from the list, let's select our prompts table. And then under conditions, let's add the name, which is equals to, and now we can simply grab the name from the left-hand side. So this name over here, and add it to this. We simply want one record. So this name over here, and add it to this. We simply want one. And let's have a look at what we call back from get rows. We retrieve the record from our data table, and we also got back our prompt. So what we can do now in the agent node is change the source to define below. And for the user prompt, we can simply open up the chat message node and grab the chat input. Then for the system message, all we have to do now is grab the prompt from our data table, which of course resolves into respond like a pirate. And if we test this chat now, let's say, hey, our agent responds like a pirate. If we wanted to swap out this prompt for something else, it's really this easy. Simply change this value to another record in the table and open the chat and let's say, hey. And now our agent is only responding with emojis. That's how easy it is. And of course, we can access these prompts from any of our workflows. We can also add data tables as tools to our agent. So let's say we wanted our agent to summarize all our existing orders. Well, first, I'm just going to change this from emoji to assistant, like so. Then under tool, we can search for data table tool. Then I'm just going to rename this to retrieve orders. Then for the operation, let's change this to get. From the data table, let's select pizza orders. And I'll simply enable return.
How's that? Is that better?
Or
is it still echoey?
Agent aside. Maybe let's do that. Right, so before I run this, let's actually add some records to that table. So let's go back to our pizza orders. All right, cool. So we have 2 orders for Leon and Susan. Now let's open the chat and let's try this out. Let's say, hey, please can you summarize our orders? All right, let's send this. And we can see the agent actually called this retrieve orders tool. And let's have a look at what the agent returned. Here's a summary of your orders. I can see you have 2 orders at the moment. and the total items is 3. This is awesome. Let's make our assistant even better. I want my agent to be able to manage and update all of my to-do items. So what we can do is, of course, go back to data tables. Let's create a new table. Let's call this to-dos. Then let's add a new column.
That's good.
Let's call this title. And let's add this column. And maybe let's add one more. And we can call this one status. And let's add one more. And this one I'll call category, which is also of type string. Now, the first thing I want to do, in fact, I'm just going to add another sticky, like so. Then let's change the color to green. And for the text, I'll just change this to to-dos. Alright, so let's add another tool. Let's search for data tables. Then for the operation, we'll select insert. For the table, let's select to-dos. And then for the values to insert, I'll simply let the agent decide. And I'll rename this node to insert to-do. And let's move it into our little green to-do section. Let's add another node. Let's search, of course, for data tables. For the operation, let's select get. For the table, we'll select to-dos. We'll let the agent decide whether it wants to return everything. And I'll just rename the node to get to-dos. Oh, by the way, we can also give the agent a bit more guidance on the insert node. So just below things like the status, we can add a description and say, should be either complete or incomplete. This way we're giving the agent a fixed list of
I'm
values
listening
that it
to
can use.
the YouTube
And for the
man so I can
category,
learn,
let's
so I can
say
build my own
category
YouTube
based
video.
on the title, example, food, groceries, entertainment, etc. Okay, let's add another tool. Let's go to our data table tool, unique for each rec. Now, in order to monitor these emails 24/7, I simply committed to a 24-month plan. It started everything else. Oh, and by the way, keeping your n8n instance up to date is really using n8n and this diff content. If you are self-hosting like I am, then click on authorized read or so under not related. Or if it is related to an order, we want to use an LLM to extract all the relevant information, which of course we can grab from it. There should be enough context for our agent, so they can go to Gmail. So select the
Yes,
Gmail
I do.
and under operation,
Love watching
you
it.
can select send and get the agent to populate all of these fields. Then we can adjust our system prompt a bit to say, it's way. Let's actually go back. Let's run this workflow again. Well, I can see the agent actually inserted the record and called the email. It says, and it's on its way. How awesome. To go back, information like the item numbers to populate all your agent. This works for pizza orders. And then provide a tool to update the database. Cool. So let's actually close out of this. Let's assign a model. In fact, I'm just going to use the same model. And then for the tool, let's look for our data table tools. And for this should be fun. Let's actually give this a spin. I'm going to run this workflow. So it's doing the text classification. And now we're running our agent. And let's have a look at what the agent said. I've added the order to the date. They do already have these fields. Successful? Then please let them know the order was processed and the order cool. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Okay, so what we are going to do is on the form submission, we're going to go send them an email. Actually, I need to add a status. So we will add a column called status. And we will also update the insert order. So it will be, refresh that. And we're just going to be order received. Cool, save. Now let's go and execute this workflow again. Have a look at our column, delete that one. So we have John, who's ordered one item, which is wrong. Item is a pepperoni pizza, so let's save that. Execute the workflow. Refresh this. Hey guys, what's happening? So let's just expand this so we can see what is happening. So we have just got a John example. He's ordered a pizza, order received, status. So let's send him an email using Gmail. We will send email, send a message. Hey Redden, and we will use their email, order received, number ID. Cool. And we'll use a text template and hi name we have received your order for pepperoni pizza. Quantity 1. Thanks. Hey Bavaria. Thanks pizza joint. Pizza joint. Cool, so we'll execute this step. So this will be our order form automation. Order form workflow. And what do I want to do? At the same time, I want to send a Slack message. Send a message to send message to a channel. Just make sure that I have a channel ready. Launch Slack. Yes, it is. Use Slack in the browser. So what the idea here is I'm going to create a new channel. And it's going to be called Orders. Blank channel, next. Orders, done. And I want to invite n8n demo, I think it was. So I do this n8n demo, add them, kill. Alrighty, let's refresh our Slack channel. Oops. So I want it to happen in parallel. Orders, new order received, number 1. Customer name. New order received. Hey guys, what's happening? Received, number, ID, queue. Awesome. Done. Hey, Mr. Hemp, what's happening, guys? So that should be fine for now. Can I turn that off? Add options. The hell's a send as inferior message? Hey, Mr. Hemp. Okay, nope, don't want that. Yes. Execute that step. Let's find out. Gemini. I'm using n8n to send a Slack message, and I have enabled HTML or Markdown. Format this message for me. Hey user. Cool, let's see what happens. Nice, that looks heaps good. Can I remove? Bot image. Copy image address. Cool. Nice. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is when the order has been received, should they approve it? Hey guys, what's happening? Hey oh my. Resource. Send and wait for response. Oops. Cool, so I will have an improve and turn that off. And let's see what happens. Sick. And then when that is approved, I will update the data table. So let's do it this way. Data table. Update row from list, pizza order. We don't care about that. We don't care about that. Conditions where ID is equal to. And we're gonna say preparing order. Cool. So we'll send them a message, then we'll send that, then we'll send that, and we will now say that we are preparing your order. update this to say we are preparing your order. Cool. So we will update that. Send a message. Cool. Save that. Let's approve that. Cool. Nice. Cool. So now we've got 2 emails being sent in this process. And then I want to do another one where we listen Slack, listen. Should be a trigger, I suppose, on bot mention. Nice. In the orders. Good. So what will happen is we'll save that, and then if I can n8n demo order 3 is ready. Cool. Oops, have to activate that. Cool. Let me just save that, and then we'll do another one, which will be to update Slack, I think it was. I think it was this one. So let's execute that. Got it. And we'll try it again. n8n demo test. I can't remember what my webhook was. So Slack, maybe it was. Try this. Right, I can't remember how it was supposed to work. How do I get the Slack demo to... Slack documentation, webhook documentation. So just Slack's app settings. App settings. Oh, that's right. Slack.api. I think that was it. n8n demo, cool. Let me just move this off screen. So it would have been, and then you go to event subscriptions. Ah, so it's test environment, that's why. Oh, okay, so, see which one that is. So we'll go back to our Slack bot. Get rid of that one. I think it was this one. Turn that to dun, dun, dun. So therefore, now this is going to be listening to anything. So if I go n8n demo test, that should execute, right? Nice. Awesome. So we're making progress now. So what I want to do is just save this for later. Duplicate. Original. Kill, get rid of that. Now you are who updates the orders data table when a Slack message has been received. Updates the status of an order in the you must interpret the message and then come up with the correct status. So we'll see what that looks like. So we're going to get rid of that one and I'm going to use a data table now. So the data table is going to be pizza orders. And I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. I want the AI agent to do it. And we're going to update a row where the ID, now let the AI agent figure it out. Okay. Pizza order. Pizza order AI agent. Cool. Alright, so guys, let's execute this workflow. We're waiting for a response. I'm going to say n8n demo. Oops, n8n demo. Pizza order 3 is ready to be picked up. And let's see what happens, guys. So if I go back to my Slack demo, we can see it's triggered. Let's go and have a look at what's happened. Cool, so I'll go to the executions. All right, so what happened was, read that, cool. So therefore, cool. So did it do anything? It actually updated it, did it? Let's delete. So if I execute the original workflow, it's going to send a message to my thing, and I'm going to, oh, it hasn't got the customer name though. Why? Oh, okay. customer name, customer item, and the quantity should be quantity here. So let me try that again. Just get rid of our data table quickly. So remove this one, delete, delete, cool, and let's execute the workflow. It's going to send a message, send a Slack channel bot. I've got new order received. I'm going to approve that. Once it has been approved, we're updating the row and we're sending a preparation order, cool. And if I check my data table here, cool, preparing order. Oh, yep. And then I'm going to say n8n demo. What the hell happened there? Should be that. Cool. Save that. And then now, if I go back to my second AI agent, I'm going to say order number 1 is ready to be picked up. Cool. And that's going to go ahead and send a message, but where? Oops. Execute that step. Nice. Cool, so I'll save that. Cool, and then I would like to also send an email. Hey guys, so this will be a data table, and this one will be a get row from the orders where the pizza. Add condition is equal to, I'll let the AI figure that out. Cool. And update the data table order. Next, you must use the get data. What is it? Get rows in data. Table tool to get the email address of the customer, to get the details of the customer's order, such as their name, email, order or item, quantity, etc. Finally, you must use that information to send a personalized email regarding their order. So let's find out what happens. So let's go. Cool. And we will see. Cool, we've got a new message received. The status, I've also sent an drawn that the appropriate is ready to be thingoed. Awesome. Let's go look at the executions now. Cool. So it looks like to John, subject, your order number is to John, sick. So this is a cool pizza for a pizza shop. So guys, what we did tonight, was, I'll just walk through it. We have a order form where we would place this order form on a customer's website, for example. When the customer fills out this form, so I'll just show you what that looks like. Oops. Oops. So when the customer fills out this form, they'll enter their name, their email, what they want to order. So let's pretend they wanted to order Hawaiian pizza. So I'll do Chris at red.ai, Hawaiian pizza, I want to order one. Awesome. What's going to happen now is it sent me an email. I think it was this one. Cool. Yep. So hi Chris, we have received your order for Hawaiian pizza. Thanks to the pizza joint. And I better just go and turn the attribution off. Cool. So now that we've sent the email with the order confirmation, if I go to my internal Slack channel, I've got an orders channel and I can see there's been a new order received by Chris. He wants one Hawaiian pizza. I'm going to approve that. Cool. Once I approve the order, we update our database. So now you can see in our database, the order is now preparing order. I'll go ahead and make the Hawaiian pizza. And then when I'm done, I go n8n demo, order number 3 for Chris is now ready to be picked up. Bam. Oops. So let me execute that workflow. Do it one more time. So I'll go bam. And what's going to happen is the AI agent is going to read what I've written here, write a reply to me. So the status of order 3 has been updated to ready for pickup. So let's go check that. Cool. So that's now changed to ready for pickup. A personalized email has been sent to Chris informing that the order of one Hawaiian pizza is ready to be picked up. Cool. Let's go check my inbox. Refresh there. Oh, sorry, when we were preparing it, we also did that. And then your order 3 is ready to be picked up. Cool, so we've got an end-to-end flow now, which is pretty sick. So just make sure that we turn off the n8n attributions. Save that. Save that. Cool, so just get rid of all this stuff. So we can see now we've got order received, preparing order, your order is ready for pickup. Fantastic. So that's our complete end-to-end workflow on how we can automate a restaurant business. So if you guys enjoyed that, stay tuned for tomorrow when I go ahead and make the YouTube video. I'll go ahead and record step by step the introduction, do a demo of what I've just shown you, and then I'll go through exactly how to build it. So how to configure it step by step. And then lastly, if you stay till the end, I'll invite you to my automation vault where I send all of my free n8n templates. The link is my own website, so www.christorrington.com. Just sign up to there. You'll get access to all of my n8n templates for free. But if you've enjoyed what you saw of me working through the process on this live stream, I hope you like and subscribe for the future. So thanks guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.